Hello. So you're looking to buy a first telescope, or maybe your second, or maybe you're just doing research. If you're here because you're looking for more information about the types of telescopes, good. I'm going to share with you what I've come to learn in my time in this hobby, and my hope is that you'll leave this video well informed, inspired, and ready for whatever you decide to do next. So let's get into it. I may be guessing here, but I may not be your first video, and you've watched several other videos comparing telescopes to each other and someone telling you which one they think you should buy. My purpose here is not to do that entirely. I want to present these telescopes to you in a different way. I want you to understand the technology that each telescope uses and what they're good for, and then based on that you can make a decision based on the information that you know. If you are a beginner and you're looking to buy telescopes and you've already done some research, I want you to ignore things like magnification 500x, telescope for adults, observatory telescope, etc. You may assume that buying something that tells you it's got high magnification will give you views, probably provided by the images released by NASA of Hubble and James Webb, and you assume that you can see those objects with your eyeballs. Well, I'm here to tell you that you might have to lower your expectations. My hope is that after presenting these telescopes to you in the way that I'm going to, you're going to be able to look at a telescope and know exactly what it's good for. Knowing what you're looking at is the most important knowledge to begin this journey for you. The reason we start there is because that will give you a starting point on knowing what to look for and then make the right decision. So let's start with the OG of stargazing, the refractor telescopes. You know them, the long tube classic movie telescope. Let's see how they work. So the light hits the big front lens and then it zooms down the tube and bam, crisp image at the eyepiece. Why do people love them? They love them because they give you really sharp views of the moon and the planets. They're also low maintenance. They're sealed so there's no dust coming into the tubes. So they're very beginner friendly. You just point, you focus, and then you enjoy whatever you're watching. Things to note, the bigger you go with refractors, they get very expensive, and the cheap ones can add a purple glow around the bright stuff. So bottom line is, if you want sharp, simple, no fuss views of bright cosmic goodies, the refractors are your friend. Next up, Newtonian telescopes. You know, the big open tube light buckets that look like they're ready to inhale starlight photons. So how do they work? The light drops into the tube and hits a big curved mirror at the bottom. We call this the primary mirror. Then that light bounces up near the top to the secondary mirror, which then shoots that light out to your eyepiece. Why do we love them? They're a huge bang for your buck aperture. That means they collect a lot of light for the amount of money you're spending on them. They're amazing for deep sky stuff like galaxies, nebulas, and star clusters. You can also do planetary with them, but you might need additional eyepiece accessories. They provide great performance without the expensive lens price tag. Some things to note here, they're bulkier than refractors, so you have to keep that in mind if you're constantly bringing them in and out of your house. They occasionally need collimation, so you have to align the mirrors. It sounds scary, but once you get the process down, it's not that bad. And then the open tubes can collect dust if you store them carelessly. Bottom line, if you want the most light for your money and love hunting faint deep sky stuff, Newtonians are your powerhouse. Now for the Swiss Army knife of telescopes, SCTs or Schmidt-Cassegrain telescopes. They look compact, chunky, and a little futuristic. Now let's see how they work. So the light enters through the corrector plate in the front, and then it bounces off a big mirror in the back. That mirror then hits the smaller mirror up front, and then it shoots the light right back out to your eyepiece. Why do we love them? They have tons of power in a compact package. That means you get more reach out of them, more zoomed power. So you get less view of the sky, but you get more zoomed in power to whatever you're trying to see. They're great all-around performance for planets, galaxies, and nebulas. They do it all. They're super portable compared to the other big aperture scopes like the Newtonians we just talked about. And they perfectly match with any computerized mounts or go-to systems, which we'll talk about next. There's some things we need to note is that they take a bit to cool down to night temperature. When you take something like this outside, you have to let it acclimate to the temperature outside. Collimation matters just like Newtonians, but you don't have to do it as often as Newtonians. And they're usually pricier than the Newtonians, of the same size. Bottom line though, is if you want a telescope that can handle almost anything, from lunar close-ups to deep sky, Schmidt-Cassegrains or SCTs are the versatile workhorse of the astronomy world. Now, the other piece to this, if you're not aware, is that you also have to buy a mount if you don't already have one. And a mount is something the telescope sits on. I typically like the computerized mounts, so that's what I'm going to be showing you today. They are built with motors and digital controls, and they automatically point your telescope to something in the sky. So you pick up the remote, you choose something like a planet like Jupiter, you hit go, and it turns the telescope to Jupiter, and it tracks the thing. So it keeps the planet or whatever it is you're trying to see in view, so you don't have to constantly keep moving your telescope around. There's some things we need to know. That weight capacity matters. So the mount must support the full load of your telescope, the finder, your pieces, whatever accessories you're loading into your telescope. The mount has to be able to carry it. Power is required, so you need to make sure that you have some sort of way to run power to your mount so then you can use it. Alignment is essential. That means you have to polar align your mount every night before you start the process, otherwise it will not be able to track celestial objects correctly. And portability versus stability. So lighter mounts are easy to carry, but they handle less weight, and they could also be affected by wind. So if you go to a windy location, you won't be able to view or take pictures as much because any gust of wind is going to move your rig around, and it's going to be a frustrating experience. So there you have it, refractors, Newtonians, SCTs. Each one has strengths, each one has trade-offs, and the best choice depends on what you want to explore. But remember to temper your expectations. Planets will be small, distant objects like galaxies and glowing nebulas will be colorless. Ignore magnification claims. In fact, dismiss any telescope that is advertised on the basis of magnification. If you see powerful 500x observatory telescope, you best bet you are buying junk that will kill the hobby for you. Trust me on that one. Don't fret over refractor versus reflector. Either style can provide excellent views and years of satisfying use. Despite all the videos you have watched or will watch after mine, there is no one best type of telescope despite of what they all say. The best telescope for you will depend on your circumstances, where you are viewing from, and your budget. I hope you now have a better understanding of the types of telescopes. If you found this video helpful, hit that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment. Tell me which telescope you're thinking of using or thinking about getting. As always, clear skies.